Today, we're doing something a little different. Here is my mother's garden, and she wanted all of these agapanthus out. It is a massive project. And being the person that usually helps her, and the fact that my house is very clean, tidy right now, and I wanted some content to film, I'm going to do a before and after. Remember this wide angle shot because it is not going to look this good afterwards. It is going to look like World War II and a half going on in this garden when we get all of these agapanthus out. First of all, we had to get all this garbage out. Here we have my lovely grandma. She's here to help on the job, and like usual, it's just the women. I like to think that my channel very much supports women power. This right there, this agave, that pile is going to be the size of that garage by the end of this video. That's how many plants we have to take out of the ground. We're going in strong and starting here, getting all the chopping done. I've got these little plier things here, and I realized a lot later that it was a bad move and I should have just used a saw. But in the meantime, here I am struggling getting these out. My grandma over there, who's 78, was trusted with a small electric saw, so I don't know what's happening, but she's getting the most trees out, and we're making sure to ask her to get the very big ones that we can't get with the clippers. But age just really doesn't matter because she's here going crazy, and honestly, I thought she'd have back pains or something, but no, she loved it, and she loved being the center of the attention. My grandma loves to be so helpful. And trust me, with how much she was getting, she was honestly the most useful asset to this project. Me and my mum were just jogging along the way, helping out willy-nilly. As you can see, we're just flying through. With 3 people, each one of these massive chunks of agaves are only going to take like 4 minutes each. It was absolutely incredible. We were flying through, and then we're going to have to come back for a part 2 to go in and get all these roots out. So this video right now is really just the destruction of all the agaves. And I do apologize if I say agapanthus or agaves because I do notice I use them interchangeably in my daily speech, but I know it's wrong. I know these are agaves. As you can see, what once was here is now destroyed. We really went through and got all this really nice and fast. We're just going in now, getting all the roots. I'm twisting it with just my gloves. Remember to wear gloves. During our lunch break, I go take them off, come back, think I'm all cool, think I'm Tarzan basically with my bare hands, but it really hurt. I cut myself really badly and my hands were full of blisters the next day. I don't know if anyone else ever does any gardening projects, but here in Australia it is so hot that it is absolutely ridiculous. I got so sunburned. My arms are a different color than my face by the end of the day. So I really should have put sunscreen on, and I don't know why my parents didn't get sunburned at all. I don't know, they're just immune to it. I think so many years of living in this country, even though my mum's just a little Polish girl, she's absolutely fine. I was trying to make sure that there was sound in this video. You guys know I always like to keep some sound, because I like hearing it personally. I like hearing like trees being chopped and everything, but the whole time we were just yapping in Polish. So if you ever want a Polish lesson, I'll put the full audio and I'll put this raw footage out there. Jokes aside, it is just so much of a bonding exercise, just doing this with your parents. I don't know if anyone else gardens with their mum, but I don't really get asked to do nice little gardening projects. I get, let's rip up all the agaves on the tennis court. And I'm like, okay, mum, let's do this. I love you. So definitely a good way I show appreciation here. And here I am trying just suffering because I realize I cannot break any of these roots. I need that electric saw that my grandmother has. But getting the roots out is definitely the hardest job. Once I tried to get a tree stump out of the ground with my brothers, and we were using a chainsaw, and we were trying to use a truck to try and like pull it with some metal chains around it. It's just absolutely impossible trying to get roots out. But I decided you guys don't want to see any of this, so here I am going to skip to the very end. This is where we started off, and here's where we are. Destroyed this agave, and then we were on to trying to get these massive ones off of the tennis court here. And when I say we, I just mean me, because I was the muscles on this project. I do have a little brother, but he was upstairs, sound asleep or playing video games, so here I am doing all the heavy lifting. You will see very quickly that this was an absolute arm day for me. My arms, I honestly, twice the size. And here we are getting back to this pile. Remember this pile, I talked about this earlier. This pile will be absolutely unrecognizable by the end because I'm pretty sure we put well over 300 agaves in here. And I'm carrying that one because it was just too heavy to throw. Well, I've got you guys all here. Does anyone notice my camera quality is looking a lot better? I actually was able to borrow my fiance's camera, special camera that they had when they used to record YouTube videos. For secret identity reasons, I will not disclose what their YouTube name was, but yeah, I really think there's so much better quality, and please let me know if you prefer this to how the video and audio is on my phone usually. If you're paying along to the video, we are on the second chunk of agaves here, but I think, especially because I've only started this YouTube stuff recently, I'm still in the process of learning what's best, trying to learn how to edit, trying to learn how to record. Definitely when you watch these kind of videos, and they look so easy to make, even like gardening videos and cleaning videos, I would watch and not think about it. And now I find myself watching going, oh, that angle is really good. I think that's very clever, and trying to incorporate that into my own content. Because at the end of the day, I want to make great high quality videos that entertain people and people want to watch. I just am a little restricted when it comes to some of the tools I have and resources I have when it comes to money and all that. As you can see, we completely destroyed this one. It was done within minutes. But I was absolutely sweating like anything. This was really tough to do with these big clippers, just getting every single one of these little tiny ones out. If anyone wants any free agaves and they live in Adelaide, please let me know. We've got a lot that we can give you. That's definitely one of the biggest reasons I wish I had a bigger community, because I hate getting all this green waste and getting rid of it. Here's where we started, and here's how we destroyed this agave. So keep in mind, I will be sure to show you guys before and afters of us destroying all of them. I must say, one of the reasons I like cleaning is because of the instant therapy, the instant satisfaction of getting everything done. This was not the case. It was very frustrating going through, getting these all chopped down, seeing the final result, and then only when I was editing the videos was I like, oh, that was really nice and easy, wasn't it? Throwing a tree on our pile here because here to go, and getting all these agaves out because there are a lot. And again, this pile will be so big that it will take up most of this driveway by the end of this. I really feel like my parents need to own a trailer at this point, because the amount of times we've got to drive like 30 minutes to go to our uncle's place, pick up his trailer, drive back, and then fill it up with something to take it to the dump is absolutely ridiculous. And if you're wondering how much a 6x4 regular trailer is when it comes to a lunch of green waste, it's $58 for one trailer of green waste. So it actually is not very bad considering how much waste we had at the end. I know I've got a lot of American viewers, so if you're American and you want to do the math on that money, I'm pretty sure the American dollar is a lot stronger, so it's probably like 10 American dollars, something like that. Apologies for that bad Australian accent. I do think my Australian accent is a bit mismatched, I would say. And here we are, all the agaves that are left there that once again I'm going to have to drag. Here I'm just showing you the beautiful path we have here with all the agaves, because again, we're going to destroy it after I move all these. This was such a heavy job. Just having all the agaves drop here and carrying them up these stairs really took its time on me. And I don't know why I am not wearing a hat right here, so I'm angry at myself because my scalp is probably burnt right now and I don't even know. I definitely did a lot of shot put this day. I feel like I'm ready for shot put and javelin, discus, all of those throwing things. I'm absolutely ready to break some female world records here because I was on fire with all of these. And every single one I'm carrying is just because it's way too heavy to throw and I did not have that arm strength. But later on I do get my little brother and force him to go throw some of the really big ones for me, and that was fun. I say little brother, but my little brother's 6'4" these days. I think that's just the case how it is when it comes to older sisters. You think you're the tallest person in the world, and one day they shoot up like a tree, and you have to look up at your little brother your entire life. And he knows I have problems with that, but I'm very happy that at least he ate his veggies and grew very nice and tall. I did find it pretty fun that when we were having lunch, I was there really sweating, huffing and puffing, and my grandma and mother were not so tired because I did all that throwing. As you can see, I'm just showing that all the agaves are starting to be cleared, and I'm just throwing them up here. We were absolutely smashing this job at this point, and here I am just getting those angles, trying to throw everything up there. As you can see, I'm getting more and more lazy because I'm just throwing them on the spot. Let me know if you notice that I've got a different speaker right now, because sometimes I have different audio. I know, oh, that was so sad when that fell down. My hair has also come undone, but I was just too exhausted this time. Like, I don't care. It was so sweaty, and I hate it when I'm all sweaty and my hair is there touching my back. And another agave fell. You can just see I'm definitely starting to get tired with this. And here we are, the next project to destroy. My grandma and mum were already there starting it, and I was there going, yep, let me help. Once again, I'm hair is wild and free like Tarzan. It happened. I think the tan I got from all of this gardening will definitely help with me trying to look more Australian. I know my accent doesn't sound very Australian, but that's because I did my high schooling in England. I think that definitely throws off when I'm trying to be there like, yeah guys, I live in Australia. It doesn't really fly very well. But that's why accents are so fun. They're a bit of amalgamation. I always say that my accent definitely changes based on who I'm talking to, because when I'm talking to my mum, it's very different from when I'm talking to friends. And even different now. A lot of the time when I try and like speak properly and like be on the call, be on a phone call, I try not to have an Australian accent. I try to definitely put a British accent so I sound more professional. But I don't want to be unauthentic. And here was the start, and soon you're going to see that this is where we are now. We're just destroying this one. But on to the next, and here we are going onto this big one here, and here is when I'm using an axe, realizing this is not very effective at getting agaves down, but I wanted to feel like a lumberjack. Lumberjacks that inspired me was definitely that big guy, Little Red Riding Hood or something, and here I am finally getting the saw, the big boys, and realizing, wow, my life could have been a million times easier if I just went into the shed and found this to start with. At this point, I was absolutely an agave cutting machine, and I loved it. My grandma's little electric saw had finally gone flat, so I was now the big dog on this gardening project. I know it's a bit strange that I'm trying to one-up my grandmother, but she wins at everything, honestly. She's too amazing. I get this one thing. My mum definitely did the least of the cutting in all of this. As someone who definitely is more of a project manager, well, she is a project manager, she definitely project managed this gardening project. She just wants to be able to watch us all, tell us what to do, make sure it's all being done her way, which is just the regular way. And, you know, she's happy with that. And I think we all were, honestly. My mom's definitely very good at gardening when it comes to gardening tasks that take a very long time, going through, cleaning out like all the weeds and stuff. But big projects like this, I think are just not up her alley. She would much rather just zone out, relax, and garden for the whole weekend. See here, my grandma is getting a bit jealous about this whole saw thing. So she's attempting to use the clippers there, and she's actually going to go and get these saw and join me in my progress. Here, I'm trying to manage them to go over there and work, but I'm not having much luck with it, so I just go back to sawing. This is also the side of the house where you've got lemon trees, as you can see by that green thing just above my head, and they were very spiky. So when I was doing all these cuts, there were a bunch of them on the floor and everything, and you had to be very careful not to get them on your hands. This is definitely a long day process. This whole thing actually, even though each time we're going and cutting these agaves, it's only taking like 10 minutes per bundle of agaves. But the biggest job by far was actually picking them all up off the tennis court after I've cut them all down, taking them to that massive pile, and then drying them all the way to the dump. So this was the funnest part of the whole project. I realize that I'm talking and waving a saw at the same time. Do not do this at home, kids. It is definitely not safe, but I'm sadly making my own rules. My little brother's feet also making an appearance here as he's walking up and down and being sent to do tasks that are not gardening around the house. My mum's definitely that person that is like, it's the weekend, all the kids should come home, start working, but it's definitely getting hard considering I don't live with her anymore. Shout out to kids whose parents also try and get them home to do jobs around the house. Like, I don't know if it's just mine, but they just love calling us in to making us help out. They had 3 kids, they had 3 little workers. They want the free labor, honestly. Honestly, kind of these gaves though, it was quite emotional. As a child, there used to just be, I think, 6 massive ones, and they used to be so big that they would catch water on their leaves when it would rain. So as a kid, I used to love going over to the agaves and pouring them into my mouth like I was Neytiri from Avatar. Oh, here we are before, and here we are after, getting the last one down. And here we are on the next bundle. I definitely was that person who watched Avatar and had been diagnosed with, I think, wishing I was in such an amazing world where I could fly with birds and everything and control horses. That would be amazing. But no, the fact I used to use them to pretend that I was there in Pandora and now I'm cutting them all down, it was very emotional. But my family's in the process of selling their house, so it's one of those things that just had to be done. Hopefully, I can create a Pandora for my children, and then they can have a great time pretending to be Neytiri and going around and drinking water from the trees. Even these rocks here as a child, I used to go like rock climb on them. I used to run all the way up them. I used to go on it and climb all the way across here. That's why I look like very unsafe on these rocks, but I have been climbing them my whole life. I was used to be half the size I am now, so I know I was well and truly equipped to climb them. We are absolutely powering through here, going everywhere. I'm sorry for the bad angle that you just have to see my behind as I'm just going and getting all these chopped off. I don't know if anyone else gets very emotional when it comes to selling like a childhood home, but it definitely is feeling that way for me with this whole process of doing the gardening. And I'm excited to bring you guys along as we go through trying to tidy up my parents' house to make it so it's ready for the market. Definitely feels like a skill that I've got to learn for one day for myself if I ever want to sell my property, because I understand when you're trying to sell a property, you can't make it how you want it. You need to make it as neutral as you can for the market. You want to make it so people can look at it and imagine how they would lay out their own home. So I do understand it's very complicated, and people even like rent furniture when it comes to doing up their houses. So I don't know what my mum's going to do. I think she would rather keep her own furniture, but she's got a bit of a Hamptons theme going on. So I think her home already looks like it's a showroom house anyway. I do think you can definitely tell the difference between when I'm filming in my mum's house and when I'm filming my own house. And here's a before and here's an after. And there you go. We are now on, I don't know, I think this is plant number 4. I think I'm going to add notes to the bottom of the screen for each plant we're on because it was a process. Also here going on the length of this video, let me know if you like how long this video is, because I know most of my videos, they don't really go to the 10-minute mark, and here I am doing a very long form gardening video. So if you're excited for part 2 and you don't mind the length, please let me know in the comments below. Again, with my journey with YouTube here, I feel like you can really see if you've been following me since the start, from my first video to now, there's definitely a lot of progress in me and how I'm recording, especially when it comes to even like how I'm recording with, like, I had my phone resting on like pots and on camping chairs to a tripod, and now I've got an actual camera that I'm using here. Don't think I'm going to be able to use an actual camera every time I film just because it's very big and heavy, but if there's great quality like this in all the videos, I'm going to try and use as much as possible and try and utilize that tool because I'm very grateful that I have it. We are accidentally killing it with this saw, I must say. I'm sure you've noticed, like, since I've got this, it's been great. I do feel bad that I don't have any audio the sound, so I'm going to just add some audio myself for a minute for you guys. Doop, doop, choop, choop, cho, so, choop, plop. So, so, there you go. So now you've missed out on nothing. You know what everything sounds like. I must say, one of the funniest things during this whole process was my mum, I think right here, makes a great joke. And that's why I'm confused. And the joke was that while I'm sawing, she's there going, "Oh my God, you're going to be so sore tomorrow." And I just thought, wow, mum, that is a mum joke. And here's where before, and here we are now, all done. Yeah, but mums can make mum jokes too. And this, I think, this is the second last one. There we go. Whatever count is at the bottom, that's what it is. That's what plot number we're on, because I've forgotten at this point. We are on an absolute roll. As you can see, I'm sweating like anything. I just really want this all done. And you'll see later how big the pile was they were actually working with. There was so many agaves that I had to pick off the lawn and move out of this area. I did not think about this, but recording a 20-minute video does take my breath away. I'm always pausing in between all the times that I'm taking to breathe or trying to edit them out, and it is just a lot of work. But the grind's the grind. And you know what? I'd love to be able to have the chance to grow this channel to a point where I can get monetized. I'm on like 60 subscribers now, I think. And that definitely feels like a massive achievement. If you want to help me get to 100 subscribers, that would be amazing. You know, I'd love to get to those kind of numbers. It would be such an achievement. I think if I continue what I'm doing, putting as much effort into the videos, recording, editing as I am now, I know that it'll just make my channel grow more and more. And my mum is being so lazy right now. Look at her just sitting there. Where is she? Where's the effort? The project manager is not working the way that she should be working on this project. But like I was saying with Storm, my grandma's the star. Here's where we started, and here's basically where we ended. My grandma was absolutely killing it. And look, she was on to the next one before I could even move that camera. That's how fast she was. That or my grandma was just sick of hanging out with me all this time. I think that was probably the latter. I loved getting that massive one out the way. I was there like, no, my grandma, her spotlight is being taken. I will get this tree out of the way. I'm sure you guys noticed, but I'm definitely saying tree to avoid saying agave because I'm scared I'm going to say agapanthus. And yeah, I still don't know how I keep making that mistake, but I definitely just do that all the time, just in everyday life. And I know this is confusing, but this is our final tree, our final agave, and that's because there's actually a property line at that little wall behind my grandma, so she doesn't need to keep going to the left of this. She's going in getting some of them there, they're just on the property line. But after that, our job is done. And it was very amazing how fast that took as a team. All three of us definitely got done fast. Here's where we started with this one, and here we are now, all done. Here I'm just showing what the tennis court looked like and going through all these agaves. I'm going to show a lot of before and afters at the end of the video, but it was absolutely insane how much it made a difference. Cutting all the agaves off really made it more open, more spacious. My mom's planning to put a little hedge there. You're going to have to join me for part 2 of that, because if I could fit it in this video, I would. But this is already going for like 20 minutes, and the last thing I want to do is bore you guys. Here I am absolutely going for shot put, trying to throw all these away. It is absolutely ridiculous how long this took me to do. I am mindful of time, so I was able to speed this up to like times 10 to try and show just how long it took. This part of the gardening really did test my resilience. A lot of the time I do feel overwhelmed, and I have opened up previously in this channel about my depression and how it can really stop me from doing tasks. And looking at these massive tasks, I just kept telling myself, just grab one agave, just one more agave, just throw one more. And every single time it was like, okay, now just one more. I know it sounds very simple, but definitely even at work, sometimes that's my solution. When there's a bunch of dishes, when there's a whole sink, I just feel overwhelmed. I just think just one more dish. And all these agaves at the top there, I'm gonna have to throw them all into this pile here. So just like before, I was this there telling myself, just one more agave, just pick one more up, because grabbing them and walking them all the way to this pile would only take a minute, but definitely that minute feels so long, so carried out. It took so much time because you really are at the end of your wits here. I was spending the whole day soaring and throwing things that my arm was just so sore. And as you see, I'm gonna have to keep just moving this camera because every time I do this, it gets bigger and bigger. I had to let that roll down. You guys know that. I'm just going through the highlights of this. But yeah, every time I had to move the camera, I was like, well, I better film. This was actually really frustrating because as I'm moving the camera, actually, it fell over and it got a little, you know, a little chipped. And luckily, nothing was broken that was expensive. Like the lens is all right and the screen is all right, which is the most expensive parts of the camera. But I felt so sad that this is the first time I was borrowing it. And I just so happened to break it. And my little brother was telling me off. Here he is going a bit of a thing. I told him to throw them here, and he was a bit annoyed because he's like, they're so heavy. I would have preferred just put the camera all the way at the end of the driveway and then just done one big show so you could see how big the pile was getting. But instead you've got me coming here, changing it, moving it back. Sadly, it was just around this part that it fell, so I was so sad about all of that. But look how big this pile is. This is probably 300 agaves, and then we had to load them all in the trailer, which took another 30 minutes. But look, here's where we are. Look at this. It's so much more spacious and open compared to last time, and we're going to have to go through with a chainsaw for part 2 and add little hedges. Again, here is the part by the stairs, and now look, there's stairs. You can actually walk through without getting whacked. Here's my grandma still there. This is what it looked like to start with, if you remember. And then here is where we are now. It also look at the way this how sunny it is, because we started this right and early in the morning and now it is midday and is boiling. I know this video is a little different from my regular content, but thank you so much for joining me, and please subscribe for part 2.